or you're tired of paying high prices for ammo, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to reload ammo. One way is pretty cheap. The other way it's kind of expensive, but it'll pay for itself. I've got a couple different machines here. This is just a relatively cheap single stage press. It's a Lee. It does one function at a time. And I also have a Dillon progressive press. It's a Dillon 550. This will turn out a lot of ammo pretty quick. And you can see on the Dillon press, it's got 4 different stages to it. Got 4 different dies in it. The other Dillon press that I have uses interchangeable heads. You can see one here, it's got 4 dies in it. They've got a powder charge on it. Comes in 2 different sizes. No matter which press you're going to use, you're going to need some basic stuff to reload with. I'm going to show you what I use. One thing you're going to need is some reloading manuals. Best ones I found have been the Lyman reload manuals. I've got mine set up where you can find what you want pretty quick. Reload manual will show you all the important stuff you need. Reload manual will show you all the important stuff you need as far as your specs reloading. Once you decide which press you're going to use, you've got to get some dies. And like I say, there's all different kind out there as far as different manufacturers. One thing about the Dillon press, you cannot use regular dies in the Dillon press. The Dillon press takes special heads. This is an aftermarket. A regular die, they'll thread up in them okay, but what I found, they aren't long enough to go through the base of your head once you get them set up. You have to use the Dillon dies. Once you decide what caliber you're going to reload, whether it's pistol or rifle, doesn't matter which press you use, whether it's single stage or a progressive press, the components are the same. You're going to need some brass. And depending on what you're going to reload, how powerful it's going to be, you may need a couple different cases. You can see here I've got a nickel case. That's pretty much for a plus P ammo or a more powerful round. Then you've got your standard brass case. These are 38 specials. Almost always your nickel cases are going to be plus P. Then you're going to need some bullets, whether you use jacketed bullets or lead bullets. In all my rifle cartridges, I always use a jacketed bullet. A lot of my pistol cartridges, especially the ones that I carry, hollow points, all of them will be jacketed. But if I'm doing a lot of target shooting with my pistols, I'll pretty much use cast bullets. I'll cast my own bullets out of tire weights. Majority of my brass that I use, I'll get them at gun shows, or you can buy them online. They're once fired brass. They may be half price. You can see those are made out of tire weights. Lube grooves haven't been lubed yet. They make several different gauges that you can buy. This is a full length case gauge. It'll measure your whole round. This is a Mauser. When it's done properly, it'll be smooth on the top. You set it on the table, it should be smooth. They also make case gauges. This is a 30-06. It's a Hornady. You can notice you put a case in fully loaded, it sticks out the bottom. That will still show you that your case is good, but it's mainly set up. You can see this little lower spot right here. You put it flat on the surface, that should be smooth on top, just like your loaded chain. Those are chamber checkers. That's what I call it. Well, it actually says ammo checker. That does a loaded round. And it will check a case too without a loaded round. And I've got a 223. Very easy, very helpful to do whenever you're getting your dies set up. You can use it for quick reference. It'll let you know if your dies are set up right. And you're going to need something to hold your empty shells if you do reloading with a single stage press. Because with a single stage press, you're going to be putting powder in your cases. This is pretty much a multi case funnel. It sets over it. And they come in different calibers. 308 takes a 30-06. 4570, it'll take 4570, it'll take a 45 ACP. That will take it, but it's tight. Got a 44 Magnum. It takes several different cases. 223 Remington takes a M1 carbine. Then you're going to need primers. Got small rifle cartridges. Got large rifle cartridges. I've got large pistol and small pistol. You've got to pay attention to what you're reloading. Your specs manual will tell you what size primers that you use. Most of your Magnum cartridges will use a large pistol case, and most of your bigger rifle cartridges will take a large rifle. And you can see what they look like. If you reload military brass, I reload some, not a whole lot of it. Sooner or later, you're going to run across a case that's bird end primed. Depending on what kind of dies you have, they're going to have different size decapping pins in them. And I've found out from my experience using military brass, from my past experience, you almost have to get a military brass deprimer. It comes with a hardened pin. Use a hammer. You just line up your pin in your primer. Same way with the bird end prime, you can tell when you're in your primer. When you use military brass, a lot of them, your primers will be crimped in. There'll be 3 little slashes on them. You can see them. Once you get your primer removed, you need to cut the crimp out of them. A box of primer won't go in there with that crimp still on there. They won't fit. This is a primer crimp cutter. It'll cut the factory crimp from a military brass out. That's for a small one. That's pretty much for pistols. And that's for rifles or a magnum round pistol. Then you've got a case prep tool. That reams the inside, that reams the outside. Do it like that, put that over it, turn it. That'll chamfer the inside and outside of your case so your bullet was set up on it. Then we've got a primer pocket cleaning tool. It's got a bunch of bristles on it. That'll go in there and you just clean your primer pocket. And if you're doing a lot of reloading, this is the same setup, except it's electric. It's a whole lot easier, a whole lot quicker. Got your pocket cleaner. Got your inside reamer. Got your outside reamer. They wasn't that expensive. Of course, I've had it a while. Seemed like it was just a little over $100 when I bought it. Of course, now it's probably going to be a whole lot more expensive. Everything to do with reloading now is more expensive. And if you decide to go with a single stage press, they don't come with anything to hold your cartridge. You can see your cartridge won't even go in it. Of course, a smaller cartridge probably will, but you can see it's not going to hold it. You're going to have to get a universal shell priming set. You can see these are numbered. It'll come with a chart that pretty much will cover all your calibers. You can see on the chart a 30-06 will take a number 2. I've got a number 2 out. You can see the bottom of the shell case has got a notch in it that will slide in your press. Turn the notch to the front. 30-06 will slide right in there. Yeah, depending on what kind of dies you get, they're all going to be different. You need to follow your directions in your dies. They'll thread into your top of your press. Then you'll set them up however your instructions say. And you slide your cases in there and you're ready to go. And a lot of times whenever you're setting up your dies for the first time, you may accidentally set your bullet too deep in your case. And if you do that, you're going to need a bullet puller. And this one comes with 3 or 4 different sizes of collars that goes around your base of your bullet. And you want to find your right size. This is the largest one. Slides over the bullet. You want to keep the round part up. Back of the puller, it'll thread off. Put your case in it, thread that back on. And then you just hit that on hard surface, you may have to do it several times to get it totally out. If you're a little deeper than what you want to be, a lot of times you can just hit it soft and it'll move your bullet back out. Once you get around crimped, you got to hit it pretty hard to get it to come out totally. But if the brass is not crimped to the case, it's usually not too big a deal. And whenever you're reloading rifle cartridges, since you've got such a big case, you've got to lube them. You're going to need a lube pad. This is made by Lyman. What it is, it's just an absorbent, soft pad. You want to take any kind of case lube, shake it up pretty good, spray it on your pad, then you just take your case, roll it over the pad, and you're supposed to let it dry. It'll tell you how to do it. In some cases you may want to reapply it. Usually I may not let it dry completely. It does pretty good for me. And whenever you're using a single stage press, the cheapest one I've got here, it has no priming system on it. Some of them have a priming system. This one don't. I use a Lee Auto Bench Prime. Wasn't very expensive. It'll come with a charging handle, the whole unit. It comes with 2 charging heads. They'll be labeled large and small. You can see that one's labeled large. It'll slide in your machine just like that. Then you're going to need a priming tool shell holder set. It'll have every shell holder you need in it. It'll have a chart with it. It'll tell you number on your shell holder that you need. And I look on my chart. I got a 30-06. It takes a number 2. They'll all be labeled. And on this one, you've got to pull your handle up, push your priming tool head down, keep the open side up. It's got little notches. It'll slide right in. You can put your cartridge in it. It'll hold it. It'll come with a primer holder. Got it where you can open it up, load your primers in it on a flat surface. You want to keep them on one side. You'll shake them down, keep them on this side. Return it back to lock. That'll slide in your machine just like that. Once you get it in your machine, you need to turn it on. That'll let your primer go into your tool. When you first put that in, you'll have to cycle it one time to get a primer to go down in the slot. Then you're ready to prime. And when your primer comes out, you can see the new primer in it. And you're also going to need powder. I've got just a few powders out here. They come in 1-pound containers, most of them. That was an 8-pound container. Several different brands, depending on what you're reloading. When you're reloading, if you're using a progressive machine, majority of all of them will have their own powder measure on them. When you're using a single stage press, they don't. You've got to measure your own powder. You can do it with a scale. This one was less than $100. I've got it set to grains. Comes with a little powder funnel. Tear it out to where it's 0. Put your powder in it. That'll weigh your powder. And you can pour it in your funnel and load your cases. Another option, you can use a powder trickler. It's got a little removable top. Put your powder in there. It's got a little handle. You just turn it. You can set that on your scale. Turn it. Your powder will trickle out of here. You can watch your scale. However many grains you want, then you can stop. That's pretty accurate. It's slow as all get out, but it works. Then you can use the Lee powder measure. This is the one I use with a single stage press. It works pretty good. It's got a little hopper. I've got it marked to open and close. You have to turn it. It comes with extra drums. And you can see I've got these labeled. You can tell by the depth of your hole, that's a smaller one. That one's deeper. This one would be like for pistol cartridges. That would be like for rifle cartridges. And the way you want to change them, the side of it's a screw knob. Then you find whatever size you want. You want to slide that in with the hole going to the back. Tighten your knob back up. Then they come with adjustment, so you can adjust your powder flow. Turn them in or out. And this also comes with a brass. This is very accurate. It's solid brass. And you've got a thumb adjustment here. And you can see on the bottom of the machine it's got a little funnel. And you'll stick your cartridge under the bottom of it. And that loads your powder. Whenever you do it, you want to give it just a little time. The more powder you got, the slower you want to do it. You don't want to just do it real fast because it won't dump all your powder out. Sooner or later, you're going to have to trim your rifle cartridges and your pistol cases. Sometimes pistols not as often as you do rifle. Rifle to stretch more. I use the Lee quick trim. Comes with a little plate. It'll go over your shell holder to catch your shavings. You want to put your case in there. And you've got to get a quick trim die for each cartridge. It'll thread down in your single stage press. I've already got this one set up. Then you take your cutter head. It'll set down in your trimmer. Then you want to take your handle, push it all the way down. You can see the cutter head raise up. Then you just simply want to push down and turn it. Here's your adjustment, so you can adjust your depth. And then once you get your case trimmed, that's when you want to use your prep tool I showed you earlier. Inside, outside, your pocket tool, all that. And you can see I've got several different calibers. And another tool you're going to need a dial caliber, which this is digital. This one wasn't very expensive. Turn it on, it comes in inch and metric. That'll let you measure your cases. That'll let you measure your cases. You use your dial caliber, measure your cases. Then you look in your reload manual, it'll tell you what they should be, minimum, maximum. Then once you get your cartridge loaded, you need to check your overall cartridge lengths. Look in your manual, it'll tell you the maximum length you need to have. That's very important in a semi-automatic rifle. Of course, a bolt action, it's not quite as critical, but it's still very important. When you're using a progressive press on a Dillon press, you have to use their own special dies. You have to buy a caliber conversion kit. What that is, for each different caliber, you've got a different size plate that fits on your cartridge. You got locator pins. Then you have to buy different heads for it that goes into the machine. It's held in with pins. It'll go in your machine like that, slide in. You have to buy a powder funnel, and your powder funnel will be here. Then you have to buy a complete, that's your powder unit, that's your powder holding tube. This is one whole unit. And the whole unit, it'll run you probably $250 now per caliber. That's not counting your caliber kit, conversion kit right here. That'll be separate. If you're thinking about reloading, it can be expensive at first. The easiest way to do it is just get single stage press. I gave probably $50 for this one. It's just a lead press, single stage, about as cheap as you can get. And you can see once you start reloading, you'll pretty much have anything you want to shoot. And after you shoot it, you can reload it. It will sooner or later pay for itself.